What's up everybody, I'm back again with another video. Today's video is actually more about passions and actually things you should know before following your passion, because I feel like this is common advice we hear everywhere, and to be honest, sometimes we don't even hear it, it's just we see it posted all over social media, like quit your job and follow your passion. So I thought I would give a few tips and just things that I've picked up along my journey that I think people should know before they go and follow their passion, and actually what it means and what actually is a passion and how do we form it, that kind of thing. So obviously passions are things that we are very, very interested in and they highly motivate us, but what does it actually mean to follow your passion and how do you actually form one? So the first thing we need to know is that actually passions can take years to form, and this is really important to bear in mind when people say just quit your job and follow your passion. Okay, think of any top lawyer or like any doctor. So if you think of like any top lawyer or just anyone who's a specialist in their field, right? If you watch Suits, if you know like a real life equivalent of someone in Suits, you know, someone who's just, they know everything about city law or contract law, they know all the agreements, they know all the loopholes. If you think about any kind of really rich banker or really rich stock trader, they know like all the loopholes to get around Wall Street, all the ways to short their stocks and make like really big margins. If you think of any just any specialist really, if you think about maybe if you're a medical student or something like that, you must have seen like a consultant or someone who just knows so much about a condition that probably less than 1 in a million people have, and you just think, why do these people care about that? But the thing is, regardless of like the ethics of you should still, you know, care for rare conditions and all that, the thing is it actually takes a long time to form passions, and people have been spending day to day in those environments learning about those things, and it's just those niggly questions that they ask themselves, and you know, it's just, you think to yourself, how can they do this every day? Well, it's because they love it. That's their field, and they only love it because they've spent so much time in it. So it's kind of like a feedback loop. So the reason why I mention that is because sometimes people say, well, I don't feel that passionate about my job and I want to quit. And if you're dissatisfied with your job in many other ways, then it is an indicator that you should look at other alternative careers as well, for sure. I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying if you haven't found your passion yet in your job or your career, that's absolutely okay, because it can take a really long time. It can take years even to find your passion, especially when you're talking about subspecialties within specific fields. So yeah, that's one thing I think you guys need to know, is that passions can definitely take years to form. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that even if you're following your passion and you're doing what you love, there are still things that are going to be difficult, and there are still going to be things that you don't like. So for example, you know, if you're a doctor, you know, you can be the best specialist in the world, the best surgeon or something. People are still going to die, or their you know, operations aren't going to go to plan. You're still going to have to fill out an awful lot of paperwork. You know, if you are a lawyer, you know, there's going to be aspects you don't like about that. There's going to be huge amounts of paperwork. It's not just all courts and everything. What would I know? I'm not a lawyer, but there you go. I'm just saying that, you know, whatever career you do, whatever passion you follow, there are going to be things that you don't like, and there are going to be very difficult moments. And that's the thing, really. Our life is really about choice. You know, you will have to go through difficulties, you will have to go through things you don't like, and really you're just choosing whether that's something you're passionate about, which might be hard in the long term. It might be really hard to leave, you know, the comforts of things that give you security in the short term to go and pursue your passion. But at the end of the day, you still have to put up with those inconveniences and that mundane nature of doing things that you don't like. And either way, it's really just a choice, you know. If you take no responsibility in life, at some point things are going to snowball out of control, and you're going to be in a lot of pain because you don't really have things organized. You're probably going to have your finances in a mess. You're probably going to have debt people coming after you. You're probably not going to have good health because you haven't taken care of yourself. Now, if you do the opposite, you take responsibility, you know, you're probably going to be very tired from exercise, cooking and all of that. You're probably going to be a bit tired from financial management and all these things. So really it's up to you. What do you choose? Do you choose the long term that's a bit harder but maybe gives you more you know, stability, or do you choose things in the short term that are easier but perhaps in the long term they really kind of don't put you at ease? So again, that's the thing that I'm trying to say here, is that following your passion is a really great thing to do, and it is really going to help you overcome things that do seem mundane, because inside you are passionate about them. But that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be things that you don't like, and it doesn't mean that things won't get difficult along the way, because trust me, they will. And I don't need to be a specialist lawyer or anything to tell you that any career that you go into is going to be really difficult at some points. Okay, so yeah, that's number 2 for you guys. So number 3 is just to remember that passions can change. So like I said, that they can take years to form. Your passions can change, and on the journey of pursuing your passion, actually a lot of your opinions can change. You can change as a person, and that's not really a bad thing, but just know that sometimes when you make lifelong commitments, especially to careers, that your passion might not necessarily be the same as it was before, and you might actually become passionate about something different in your later life. You see a lot of people, particularly in their later life, they come back into politics or something, and you could just argue that's a quick way of stealing money from people and walking away, but it's usually because at that point in their life they want to try and give money back to their community, or they want to try and give something back, like a legacy, or try and serve people. So you do see that passions do change as people age, and that is something to remember when you do think about lifelong careers and that kind of thing, and following your passion and maybe moving abroad or something like that. Just remember that your passion can change, okay? So that's not a bad thing, but it's just something to remember, especially if you're looking into logistics, planning family life, that kind of thing. Just do keep these things in mind, okay? Number 4, the fourth thing that you really need to know about is having a side hobby or like an interest that maybe you make a little bit of money on the side on, and following your passion that you feel deeply about in your heart and trying to make that a profitable business is a very different thing, okay? So maybe writing a few poems here and there. This is something that I'm going to talk about because I have mentioned before that I've written a book, so I find writing can be very, very helpful for me, very therapeutic. And writing, just sometimes occasionally when I feel like I need to get something out, it really does help me, okay? But writing a book, especially, trying to release it and charge people money for it, it has to be a good quality product. So there's nothing to say that your hobbies aren't quality or anything, but there is a difference between trying to, just having something that you're interested in and trying to make it profitable. You really do have to look into things. So for example, with the book, I had to look into ways to get it published. I had to look into cover design, title design. I had to just look into what actually makes a good paperback, like paper colors and all these little different niches. And so it's just these sorts of things that you have to be aware of when when people tell you, just quit your job and follow your passion. Just know that, it's very different in terms of, anyone can take photos and post them on Instagram, and they can look kind of semi-decent, but if you're trying to, make your way as a photographer, that's a whole different ballgame, okay? And again, all these fields, I'm not the world's best photographer, not the world's best lawyer, but I can tell you right now, without even having that much experience, it's a whole world that's different, okay? So it's just really important to know before you actually get involved, because you might think of something that is your hobby and you might just think to yourself, oh yeah, that's really easy. It's gonna be a lot harder, and that's not to put you off, it's just so that you're aware that it's a different ball game basically, and it's something that you should just know, especially if you are planning to quit your job or something like that, okay? So that's really important to know, okay? And number 5 is, okay, so what did we say? We said passion. Oh no, this is so bad. I've forgotten what number 5 was. Oh dear, guys. Number 5 was just make sure that you do your research as well, okay? So the reason I say that is because, again, like I said, we tend to see these things just thrown about on our social media feed, and they'll usually quote something like Bill Gates' story, or they'll say like, Zuckerberg, Gates, they're all college dropouts, you should all drop out of college as soon as you can. And the thing is, you just have to know that everyone's circumstances are different. That doesn't mean you can't be inspired by anyone who's different to you, but it does mean that, these people, they did drop out of college, but they had a plan. They didn't just say, I don't have any, I just don't want to go in anymore. They had a plan, and they saw through that their plan would probably, it was something that they were passionate about, okay? So my point is, I'm not trying to overanalyze all these famous people's stories and their lives, or take any credit away from what they've done, but I'm just saying that look into what you're gonna do, okay? just be really cautious, especially if you are planning on changing careers and you do have a family on the line and that kind of thing. If you do have responsibilities on the line, just look into this stuff as well. And again, just make sure that all the decisions you make, they're your own, okay? So all this advice that I'm saying, or all these learning points that I'm sharing that I've learned, again, just take it on board, but, don't do just what I say just because I said it, your decision should be entirely dependent. And that's just because, some people will give you great advice and some people won't, and that's just because people tend to tell you what they would do, not really what you would do. You need to know, only you know what you want to do and what you need to do, okay? No one else can tell you that. People can maybe give you a guess or tell you what they think you should do or what they think they should do, which might apply to you. So you just really have to take this stuff in your own way and apply what's relevant to you. And just the final thought that I'll leave you guys with is, don't let anyone tell you, don't let anyone who doesn't wear your shoes tell you how to tie your laces. Again, so I probably messed up that and didn't deliver it in a really clear, smooth way, but just know that there's a lot of people who give you advice or criticize you, especially when you are following your passion and things don't take off, because like I said earlier, things do get very hard. There will be a lot of people who criticize you, and just know that actually if they've never done anything with their life, which you shouldn't put people down from, but just know that their criticism doesn't really apply because they don't really know what they're talking about and they don't really understand how difficult things are. And so, yeah, and if by chance what they're saying is right, then just listen to it as well, but just know that don't take things too personally. And the less somebody knows you, the less you should take something personally, okay? So I'll just leave that one there for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any feedback, let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps just promote things on the algorithm, and it just helps get these videos recommended to more people. And I've had quite a lot of good feedback from you guys, especially in the comments, and actually off the comments as well. Some of you guys are messaging me saying what a difference this has made. Small differences, but still, those are good differences. And so, yeah, if this has helped you out, just, if you could just drop a like, comment, share, or subscribe. It does help recommend these to more people, so that's really good. And yeah, take care, guys. Stay safe.